New Star Wars just dropped. Is it Acolyte or is it Echo shit? Man, I'm so good at this stuff. Like I just come up with it on the fly. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the Acolyte just dropped. The first two episodes, I guess the season premiere, I should say. And I like it. I actually enjoyed myself watching a new piece of Star Wars content. So I mean, listen, Star Wars over the years has been very like hit or miss. It's like sometimes you'll get something perfectly fine like The Bad Batch. Sometimes you'll get something god awful like The Book of Boba Fett. Sometimes you'll get something incredible like Andor. And I think that this falls, I would say, right there with like The Bad Batch. I'll say Bad Batch seasons one and two. I haven't finished season three. I've heard that's pretty good actually, but I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. So maybe that speaks to the quality of it. I don't know. But yeah, I think that Acolyte so far is very enjoyable. So it takes place, I believe, 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So it's before any of the stupid Skywalker stuff that I'm just so unbelievably sick of. So like honestly, the coolest thing about this so far is just that there's no like desperate Easter eggs or anything, right? Like that's why I was kind of intrigued about this because they literally are unable to do that, right? Like you can't just have like a horrifying mannequin, CGI Luke Skywalker coming into frame at all because he wasn't born yet. I guess at some point they could bring in Yoda, but they haven't done so yet. So on that front, just it having to like stand on its own 2 feet, that's definitely just made this more interesting to me. Um, and yeah, and so far I'm digging the premise. So basically, I guess to set the stage, um, I want to not spoil anything, but there is there's a person out there. They're going out trying to murder Jedi and stuff. Um, and the Jedi Order are like, "What's going on here? We got to figure it out." And that's basically the premise here. So it's like a little bit of a mystery sort of thing. Although I will say they figure out a lot of the mystery pretty immediately, but then it's like, but there's even more mystery after that. So it's like, okay, I'm interested. So I would say the production value wise, like as far as the way the show looks, it's pretty solid. I would say. I would say it's pretty on par with like the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, um, where it's like, yeah, like this is still very much a TV show, but it's like a good looking TV show. I don't know. I don't think that there's really ever been a Star Wars show that truly looks like a movie. Like even Andor, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you're a TV show. So I think it's on the higher end of Disney Plus Star Wars. It doesn't look nearly as bad as Obi-Wan. Um, and action I actually think is very good. Like I dig all the fights. I remember from the trailer, like Star Wars fans were getting mad because they were like, "Why aren't the Jedi using their lightsabers? Why are they fighting in hand-to-hand combat?" What I'll say is that in the context of those scenes, because I'll say this as well, pretty much all that I've seen so far is really just stuff that we've seen in the trailer. I didn't watch like any of the like TV spots, but yeah, like most of what you see in the trailer is like in the first two episodes. So that's pretty cool, actually. And yeah, so like a lot of that hand-to-hand combat, I think contextually makes a lot of sense. And I like what they're doing with the whole like kung fu thing. I think it's pretty cool, honestly. I don't think that Star Wars has ever really had like particularly good action. Like I'm a bit of a prequel hater. Like I thought that a lot of those lightsaber fights they felt too choreographed. I felt like I was watching a ballet recital, you know, watching like the Darth Maul and Obi-Wan fight where they're like hippity hopping and like dancing around, and it's like we are hitting each other in coordinated fashion, you know. I actually quite like the fights here, like in the hand-to-hand combat. I thought it was pretty cool, actually. I'd say as far as negatives so far, I think that some of the editing is weird. Like there's one moment in specific where like the there's like a guy, he's sitting down and then there was a jump cut to him standing, and I'm like, how did you not notice that in the editing bay? Or maybe it's a case where they were like, maybe they did notice it, but they were like, well, shit, we don't have enough money to go like reshoot this like one moment. I don't know if it was something weird like that, but that was very weird. I'll say there are like a couple like logic decisions where I'm like, where it's like, I'll say they're setting up like a stakeout because they want to like catch a guy in the act. And then they even kind of address it themselves, which even made me think of the criticism because I wasn't even thinking of it at the time. Where it's like, yeah, the Jedi could have just used like the Jedi mind trick to like mind read the guy. But then maybe it's one of those situations where like, I guess the Jedi mind tricks only work when you're stupid. And the guy definitely isn't stupid. So maybe they just figured he wouldn't be stupid, so they didn't want to risk it, and they would have rather have caught him in the act. If you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's not amazing. Like it's not as good as Andor, but like I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think that most of the performances are good. And yeah, especially again, I don't want to spoil anything, but what they're doing with like the protagonist, like the main character, she's played by Amanda Steinberg. I was like, when they reveal what's going on with her, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. I like what they're doing here. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.